So this restorative practice kind of, I think it takes the base of what counselors have always done and kind of spreads it out. So when you talk about that equity, it's not just the kids who have come to the counselor's office that get this attention. It's now every kid in the building that will get this attention. So that's pretty cool. I think when you bring this out there, one of the biggest fears is time. How will we implement this? When will we implement this? I think people get too wrapped up in, and maybe it comes from our always having curriculum, and there's a book, and on page 37, we will do this, and on page 48, we know where to stand, we know where to sit, we know what page to write on in your workbooks, and this is more about how we are, how we live, how we breathe, how we talk to each other, how we interact with one another. So there's not so much, I know there is the agreement script, but the rest of it's not a script, it's that relationship building. And so it fits into our entire day. There's not a minute of our day it can't fit into. So when we try to say, what time are we doing it? It's like, well, we're doing it all day. We might have the circle guideline part or the circle at a certain time in the day. We might have this academic circle at one time of the day, but we're practicing restorative practices all day long, hopefully. The major shift for myself is knowing that even though somebody on the outside doesn't see, sometimes people are looking for that punishment, like what happened to that kid? They did wrong, what happened to them? And I know that even the small conversations we had, I know that the small repair they've had to do, or maybe even a flower they picked to give to the teacher to say, I'm sorry, I know that's the repair and the motion forward. And now I think the other teachers are seeing that it's not a lenient program. It's a program, again, for discipline, to teach in the moment and to teach how to get better and to teach that we learn from our mistakes. We preach that a lot, that mindfulness is learning from our mistakes and growing, but we don't always practice it. I think this speaks to equity. This speaks to bringing everybody to the same starting line, because they don't start in the same place in the morning. You know, I know when I leave my house, I have kissed my kids goodbye. I know they've had a good breakfast. I know they know what they're doing after school. I know they know what we're having for dinner. They're feeling solid. This speaks to allowing all of those kids to have that safety, to be surrounded at least during the school day with somebody who's going to care about them, somebody who's going to be fair with them, somebody who will allow them to have their voice, who cares what they have to say, even if they use a wrong word, even if they're not as eloquent as their neighbor. People care what they have to say and how they're feeling. That's pretty cool. I just so appreciate this program, again, because I feel like when you talked about the bells and whistles and all these pretty shiny things, and they're all good, well, some of them are good, but this brings back, this is just so easy. Like, I can hold up that hand and I can look at myself and think, okay, which one did I miss? Like, oh, and there was something that we talked about, like, are we in repair before we created that relationship? Maybe I'm jumping into repair, but you know what? I thought we've got a good relationship. Did I stop to ask that kid, do you think we have a good relationship? So I'm jumping into repair where they're not even in a relationship with me yet. So it's just that visual of that hand is so good for me, because I can look at it and say, oh, where are we? And hopefully I can teach that kid to say, hey, where are we? What do you think I missed? What do you think you missed? That's kind of cool, because they always have their hand with them. So it's kind of cool.